What is up, guys? Rick Kakis here, and this is the Nightfall Gold Tier Guide, showcasing not only how to beat this week's Nightfall from January 24th to the 31st, but also some tips for how to achieve that Gold Tier ranking and complete the Sunrise Bounty from Zavala to hopefully get a crack at the Icebreaker Exotic Sniper Rifle. Now, before we begin, I just want to say, if anyone watching is interested in Mass Effect Andromeda, yesterday I released a video showcasing all of the skills revealed in Mass Effect Andromeda gameplay trailers. A lot of interesting stuff there, so I would urge you guys to check it out. The only reason I'm talking about that is I released it yesterday, like I said, and YouTube decided to not properly release the video to subscribers, which is kind of the one thing you want YouTube to do. But what more can you ask for? Anyways, guys, back to the Gold Tier Guide. This week's Nightfall modifiers are as follows. Firstly, Void Burn. This is the biggest factor in what you're going to want to base your loadout around. You're going to want to be using a Void subclass, the Void Walker Warlock, the Night Stalker Hunter, or the Defender Titan. All three are going to be pretty effective. Next, we have Juggler. This means that whatever weapon you're currently using, when you kill enemies with that weapon, no ammo is going to drop for that category of weapon. So if you're using your primary, getting a bunch of kills, you're just going to naturally run out of primary ammo unless you switch and get kills with your heavy or special weapon. This modifier means that you want a good mix of weapons. Don't just utilize one weapon that you plan to rely on for the whole Nightfall encounter. Make sure you're using a decent primary. I was using the Bad Juju. There is no infusible Void primary, so might as well use something like the Bad Juju that will get me my super more often, which is Void. I'm the Void Walker Warlock. Next, we've got a Void Sniper Rifle, a decent one, the Iron Banner one, and a Void, actually the Iron Banner Rocket Launcher. So all three of these weapons I'm very comfortable with using, and I'm going to be switching between all three of them in the gameplay because of Juggler. I'm not just going through constantly using the Bad Juju. That's a bad idea. The next modifier is Grounded. This means that when you're in the air, you're going to take more damage. So try to avoid jumping in the air. I know if you're a hunter and you're into PvP, that might be impossible. Just a little dig there. I want to throw that right in there. But in any event, seriously though, a lot of people like to jump in the air all the time. Don't do this because you'll take a lot more damage than you might be expecting. Aside from that, the last modifier we have here is Catapult. This is going to make your grenade charge a lot faster. If you are playing something like the Warlock, the ultimate exotic armor piece would be something like the Nothing Manacles. That gives you another scatter grenade and makes your scatter grenades more powerful. That thing is amazing. Unfortunately, I don't have a year 2 one. RNG has just been screwing me over with the Nothing Manacles. I have 6,000 or 7,000 Immolation Fists, but no Nothing Manacles. That aside, if you do have them, I would recommend using them. But keep that in mind, something that is going to double your grenade output is going to be very, very effective. For example, if you're playing the Titan and you're playing the Defender Titan, the Armamentarium is going to be something else that you're really going to want to look at to make the most of these current modifiers. Alright guys, now let's move on to the Nightfall walkthrough. The strike being featured is the Blighted Chalice, where you fight Malok. Now you're going to start out here in the end section of the Summoning Pits. There's going to be a bunch of thralls thrown at you, taken thralls at first, and there's going to be normal thralls after that. Now in this section, I would just recommend don't get too open necessarily. The thralls actually jump up to pretty much anywhere on this map. Just be in a location that you can't be surprised with thralls jumping up right behind you, meleeing you, and stuff like that. There are going to be some more powerful enemies. We're going to have some yellow health wizards and knights, but it's really not too much to deal with. The enemies aren't really shooting back, they're just meleeing you, so you just kind of have to have a little bit of situational awareness. Make sure you're not ambushed to them, make sure that when they're spawning you're not standing anywhere near the door, but aside from that, this part should be relatively straightforward. As you kill the enemies, you're going to get more ruins to unlock the door to move forward. Once this door opens, there's going to be 1 to 2 million cursed thralls. Just someone throw a grenade or shoot a rocket or shoot a sniper rifle or whatever. You hit one and they're all going to go off like fireworks, and usually they drop a ton of ammo, which is nice. Now after that, you're going to continue through this strike. You're going to have a narrow corridor. Actually, watch out for this narrow corridor. There's going to be a lot of shade thrown, not kind of like insulting shade thrown, like actual shade thrown, and that's going to obscure the vision of yourself and not the AI enemies that are beyond the smoke. So if you're kind of playing around this hallway too much, I've seen a lot of people get sniped in the face because they aren't paying attention to the enemies beyond the smoke screen. So just don't kind of dance around the hallway until you've taken care of the enemies on the other side. Now once you've done so, you continue through this strike, and then we have the next semi-large encounter. You're going to find a bridge that you have to cross, and in doing so, you're also going to find a ton of enemies. Now when you're playing this strike normally, like in the Heroic Siva strike playlist, a lot of people just kind of run through this part and they leave a lot of enemies behind them. Don't get into that trap. I know some of you will be kind of maybe used to doing that, but you're gonna want points. You want to get the Sunrise Bounty, of course. I mean, even if you already have the Icebreaker, it gives you another legendary weapon, so make sure you're killing all of the enemies in this area. Again, do not try to run past, leave any enemies behind. There is a ton of them, they all bunch up, they are just perfect for getting massive supers and streaks and getting your points up. Moving on, we continue further into the bowels of this hive something, and we have the next semi-miniature encounter. There's just going to be a lot of taken enemies spawning here, and actually a lot of snipers. Do not forget about the snipers. They do a lot of damage, and they can really do a lot of damage because of that grounded modifier. It's easy to get complacent, just be jumping down from one ledge to the floor, what have you, and if you take a sniper shot during that time, you could die from like a single shot if you've taken even a moderate amount of damage before. So really be aware of that. Take out those snipers first before you get overzealous and try to jump around, get those massive Nova bombs and so on. In fact, there's a part later in this video where I jump up, get the massive Nova bomb, like it's like 5-6 orbs, just crush a bunch of enemies, but I die in the middle of the air. The grounded modifier is no joke, and it's gonna get some of you killed if you're not aware of it. In any event, make your way through this part, continue even further into the lair. We have a bunch of taken thralls in a hallway. You might even call it a thrallway. Okay, I better get some likes because of that, because that was the greatest pun ever uttered by a man or beast. I'm just kidding. In any event, make your way through this hallway, guys, and you will have the final boss encounter. There's just some random acolytes, taken acolytes that you have to kill to trigger the boss. Now, the boss will not spawn until all of these guys are killed, so if you have any preparations, if you want to pop any synths or anything, do it now before you kill all of these adds. In any event, kill them, and that's going to spawn Malok in the final boss arena. Now, Malok is kind of an interesting case. He's going to evolve his tactics as you do more damage to him. It's going to say in the bottom left hand corner of your screen, whenever you do enough damage for him to change tactics, it's going to pop up that Malok has changed tactics. Now, the first few times he's using his tactics, he's not actually that big of a deal. He's going to shoot some arc at you, then he's going to shoot the flames out of his face. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but regardless, not that big a deal. However, the last tactic that he chooses is to throw about 5 or 6 action bolts at you at the same time. They are no joke. They really can, like, one of them can kill you. So you really have to be aware of that final damage phase. Be paying attention to how much damage you're doing to him and to when he's changing his tactics, because literally, if you're not paying attention and you're dealing with adds or something, those Axtian bolts are enough to wipe out your entire team if you're standing close to each other. Now, the best place to hold out for this final boss encounter is where you see my fire team holding out. It's kind of the one proper place of cover. However, it's far from perfect. There's going to be a spawn point here for 2 taken Centurions that will spawn based on the health Malok has. They do not just spawn randomly. If you don't do any damage to Malok, they will not spawn. They are health gated. So make sure you're paying attention to that. that. If you're doing a lot of damage to Malok, if you put an entire sniper clip into him, be aware that there's probably 2 Taken Centurions behind you. So at that point, again, once you do some damage to him, turn around, check where they're spawning, and it's likely that you will see that Taken orb kind of start to appear, and then you can take care of those 2 Taken Centurions that spawn. As long as you're kind of paying attention to that and you kill them as soon as they spawn, they should be no big deal. Make sure to kill them and kill the Taken Blight that's there as well. If you don't kill that, your health will not regenerate. The Taken Blight prevents health from generating and makes you slower, just so make sure you're taking down that as well. Aside from that, guys, really my last tip is that don't get overzealous with damaging Malok. Like, not only is his last damage phase annoying, again, he's going to shoot the action bolts at you, but you want to make the most of the enemies that are spawning. The enemies spawning in this final encounter are fantastic for farming points. They're going to spawn all in a bunch, they clump together, they are perfect for Nova bombing or grenading or just absolutely decimating with any type of weapon, and you'll see a lot of that happening in the background gameplay. So make sure you aren't killing Malok too quickly, make sure he's going through the ads spawning phase so that you can actually kill them, get the points to guarantee that gold tier reached. You may have the opportunity to absolutely destroy Malok right away with Void Sniper Rifles, but if you do that, if you get too hardcore, just be aware that you may actually be missing out on that gold tier bounty completion. Alright guys, and that should wrap up this week's gold tier Nightfall guide. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you want to see more Destiny content from me, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you actually want to be notified of new uploads, make sure to press the bell beside subscribe. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, including when I'm going to be doing Nightfall carries on Twitch. By the way, my Twitch channel is also linked in the description of this video. You're going to have to follow me on Twitter at RickKakis. You'll be kept informed of all Twitch streams and videos and pretty much everything if you follow me on Twitter. But seriously, follow me on Twitter at RickKakis. In any event, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, have a good day.